ship tore through the dark clouds like a falling star. Inside, alarms screamed, red lights flashed, and Captain Ryan Holt fought the controls with shaking hands. Smoke filled the cabin, sparks flew from the console, and the oxygen gauge blinked red. His heart raced. "Come on, stay together," he muttered, pulling a broken lever. Outside the window, a strange planet spun below. Red skies, silver oceans, and continents shaped like scars. The ship had been hit by something, he still didn't know what. One moment he was mapping uncharted space, the next he was crashing toward an unknown world. The engines exploded. The ship spun violently. The ground rushed up. Ryan slammed a button and the crash shield dropped over him. Then, impact. The world went white. When Ryan opened his eyes, everything was quiet. His head hurt. The cabin was half buried in red sand. He coughed and unbuckled himself, falling to the floor. The metal walls were cracked open, sunlight pouring through like fire. He grabbed his emergency pack and crawled out through the wreckage. Outside, he blinked in shock. The sky was deep crimson, filled with floating dust that shimmered like tiny crystals. Jagged black trees rose in every direction, their branches sharp as blades. The air smelled like burnt metal and flowers at the same time. No cities, no signals, no movement, just endless wilderness. He tapped his wrist communicator. "Command, this is Captain Holt. I've crashed on an unknown planet. Coordinates, static." No reply. He tried again. Nothing. Ryan took a deep breath. "All right. Looks like I'm on my own." He looked back at the wrecked ship. It was smoking, broken, and useless. He couldn't stay there. If the reactor blew, it'd be the end. So he started walking. As he moved through the strange forest, he noticed something strange. Marks on the trees, like deep cuts made by blades. The pattern looked organized, almost like writing. He ran his hand across one. The wood felt warm, like it was alive. Then he heard a sound. Soft at first, then louder. Footsteps. Ryan froze. He turned slowly, his hand on the small pistol at his belt. Between the red leaves, something moved, fast, silent. Then a flash of silver. A spear shot through the air, landing inches from his boots. Ryan raised his weapon. "Who's there?" he shouted. From the shadows, 3 figures stepped out, tall, armored. Their armor was made of some black metal that glowed faintly. Their faces were covered by masks with sharp designs, and their voices cold and commanding. "Drop your weapon," one said. Ryan hesitated. The tallest of them stepped forward, her armor shining like obsidian. She pulled off her helmet. He froze. It was a woman. Her eyes were fierce, silver like ice. Her hair was braided with metal strands, and a glowing red line ran across her face like a scar. She looked at him with confusion and disgust. "A male," she whispered. "It's true," Ryan blinked. "You can speak English?" Her lips tightened. "You will speak when spoken to." Before he could reply, she raised her hand. The other warriors surrounded him, weapons aimed. He lifted his hand slowly. "Look, I don't want trouble," he said. "My ship crashed." The woman cut him off. "You are trespassing on the soil of Valeria, the planet of the warrior queens. You will come with us." "Queens?" Ryan repeated. "Wait, what do you mean?" A warrior struck him in the stomach with the butt of her spear. He fell to his knees, gasping. They bound his wrists with glowing energy bands and forced him to stand. The leader stepped closer, studying him like a rare creature. "I am Queen Valara, ruler of the Iron Plains. You are an intruder from the stars." Ryan tried to meet her eyes. "I'm not your enemy," she tilted her head. "We shall see." They led him through the strange jungle. The trees grew denser and the air filled with the sound of drums in the distance. Soon they reached a vast clearing, and Ryan's jaw dropped. In the distance stood a city of black stone towers, each one shaped like a spearhead pointing at the sky. Banners waved with symbols of fire and blades. Hundreds of armored women trained in open arenas, their shouts echoing like thunder. No men. Not a single one. Ryan whispered, "Where am I?" Valara looked at him. "You are in the world of the strong," she said, "and your fate will be decided by dawn." That night, inside a dark stone cell, Ryan sat against the wall, staring through the bars. He could still hear the Queen's voice outside, giving commands. His mind raced. A planet ruled by warrior women? How was that even possible? He looked at his reflection in the metal wall, tired, bloody, and lost. He had come to explore space, and ended up on a world where men were myths. Outside, lightning flashed. Somewhere a horn sounded. The Queen's shadow passed his cell window. Ryan didn't know it yet, but his arrival had just changed the fate of Valeria forever. The sound of iron boots echoed down the long stone hall. Captain Ryan Holt was pushed forward by 2 armored guards, his hands still bound with glowing cuffs. His eyes darted around. The place looked ancient and alive at the same time. Black walls shone with symbols carved deep into the rock. Blue fire burned in hanging bowls. The air smelled of steel and smoke. He was inside the fortress of the warrior queen. As they walked, he caught glimpses of the world beyond narrow windows. Massive training yards where hundreds of women sparred with spears and energy blades. Their movements were sharp, perfect, deadly. No hesitation.
"No mercy," Ryan whispered under his breath. "This is not just a tribe."
"It's an empire," the guards didn't answer. They stopped before 2 massive doors covered in golden markings. When they opened, Ryan froze. The throne room was unlike anything he had ever seen. The ceiling stretched into the mist. Giant pillars carved with battle scenes lined the walls. At the far end sat Queen Valara, wearing armor made of black crystal and gold. Her eyes caught the firelight, cold, focused, and almost curious. She raised a hand. "Leave us," she ordered. The guards bowed and stepped back, leaving Ryan standing alone before her. For a long moment, neither spoke. The Queen studied him like a scientist studying a strange creature. Finally, she rose and walked down the steps, her cloak whispering across the stone floor. "You are different," she said softly. "Your face, your voice, even your scent. You are not of Valeria." Ryan swallowed hard. "You're right. I came from another world. My ship crashed. I didn't mean to intrude." She stopped inches from him. "A man who falls from the sky," she murmured. "The old tales speak of such things. But I thought them lies," he frowned. "Tales?" Valara tilted her head slightly. "Long ago, before the Great War, there were 2 kinds of humans on Valeria. Male and female. The men destroyed themselves through pride and greed. The women survived. We built a new order." Ryan's chest tightened. "So there are no men left here?" "None," she said, her tone cold again. "Until you." She turned and walked back to her throne. "You will answer my questions," she said. "What world are you from? What weapons do your people use? How many are coming?" Ryan shook his head. "No one's coming. I was alone. My mission was exploration, not invasion." Her eyes narrowed. "A likely story." He stepped forward. "I'm telling the truth." Immediately, a guard moved closer, spear aimed at his chest. The Queen raised her hand to stop her, but her expression darkened. "Do not raise your voice to your queen, outsider." Ryan lowered his tone. "I mean no disrespect. I just want to survive." Valara leaned back on her throne. "Survival is earned, not given. You will prove your worth, or you will die." 2 warriors entered, carrying a strange circular device. They placed it before Ryan. It looked like a metal ring covered with runes, humming faintly with power. "What is that?" he asked. "The Circle of Truth," Valara said. "It reads the heart of the speaker. If you lie, it burns." Ryan stared at her. "Seriously?" Her lips curved slightly. "We do not joke here." He sighed and stepped inside the circle. The air shimmered. "State your name," she ordered. "Ryan Holt." The circle glowed blue. "Your purpose?" "Exploration. My ship crashed by accident." The light stayed blue. Valara leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "And your intent on Valeria?" Ryan took a deep breath. "To survive, and to understand this world." The circle pulsed once, then stayed blue. The Queen's expression softened for the first time. "Interesting," she said quietly. "You speak truth. Perhaps fate brought you here for a reason." Suddenly, the doors burst open. A woman in red armor stormed in and knelt before the Queen. "My Queen, the Council demands the male's execution. They say his presence breaks our sacred law." Valara didn't look away from Ryan. "Tell the Council the Queen decides who lives and dies." "But, Majesty, go." The messenger hesitated, then bowed and left. Ryan exhaled slowly. "I guess I owe you thanks." Valara turned her gaze on him again. "Do not thank me yet." "You are a danger, Captain Holt. The people will see you as a curse or a weapon." He frowned. "And what do you see me as?" The Queen walked closer, her silver eyes locking with his. "I see possibility." That night, Ryan was placed in a guarded chamber high in the fortress. It wasn't a prison, but not freedom either. He sat by the window looking at the blood-red moons above. In the distance, the Queen's soldiers trained under torchlight, shouting war chants that echoed through the mountains. He could feel their energy, their unity, and their suspicion toward him. He touched his wrist communicator again, still nothing but static. Then from below, he heard voices, whispers in the dark. 2 guards speaking. Why does the Queen keep him alive? She says the Circle chose him. The Circle can be wrong. The last time it glowed blue, it nearly destroyed us. Ryan frowned. What did that mean? He didn't know it yet, but something ancient, something powerful was stirring beneath the fortress. His arrival had awakened more than curiosity. It had awakened fear, and fear always led to war. Morning came with the sound of war drums. The first rays of the red sun spilled across the fortress walls, lighting up banners marked with golden spears. Captain Ryan Holt stood in the center of a wide courtyard, surrounded by hundreds of warrior women. Their armor shimmered in the dawn light. Chains still hung around his wrists, though they were loose now. He felt the eyes of the entire crowd on him, cold, judging, and curious. Queen Valara stood high on her balcony, her black and gold armor gleaming. The wind tugged at her crimson cloak as she spoke to her people. This man has come from the stars, she declared. Some say he is a threat. Some say he is a test from the gods. Today we shall see what he truly is. The crowd roared, their voices like thunder. Ryan felt his stomach twist. What does she mean by see? He muttered. A guard beside him smirked. You'll find out soon, Skyman. The gates ahead opened with a deep rumble. The ground shook. Ryan blinked in disbelief. Before him lay the arena of flames, a massive stone circle carved into the earth. Lava flowed through trenches that formed glowing rings, and the smell of smoke filled the air. Thousands of spectators packed the stands chanting Valara's name. At the center stood a tall warrior in heavy bronze armor, holding 2 curved blades. She wore no helmet, and her sharp eyes glared at Ryan with pure hatred. The announcer's voice echoed, Champion of Valeria, Commander Rytha of the Crimson Guard. The crowd screamed her name. Ryan's cuffs unlocked, dropping to the ground. He rubbed his wrists and took a step back. Wait, I'm supposed to fight her? Valara's voice thundered from above. If you are truly a survivor of the stars, prove it. Ryan's heart pounded. I'm a pilot, not a gladiator, he whispered. But the guards pushed him forward. A mechanical door slid open beside him. A metallic staff shot out of the floor, simple but strong. He grabbed it just in time as Rytha charged. The first strike came fast, too fast. Ryan barely blocked it. Sparks flew as her twin blades clashed with his staff. He stumbled backward. The crowd booed. Rytha laughed. Pathetic. Is this what the stars send us? Ryan gritted his teeth. He ducked under her neck swing, rolling to the side. His old combat training kicked in, reflexes from years in the Space Corps. He jabbed low, hitting her knee, then leapt back. The crowd gasped. Rytha hissed and swung again, slicing through the air. You fight like a wild beast. Ryan smirked. You talk too much. She lunged again, this time pushing him toward the lava trenches. He jumped aside just in time, feeling the heat sear his leg. From above, Queen Valara watched silently. Her eyes followed every move. There was something unreadable in her expression, curiosity mixed with something else. Minutes passed. Sweat dripped down Ryan's face. He could barely breathe. Every time Rytha attacked, he had to dodge and counter. But he noticed something. She fought with rhythm like a dance, predictable. He waited, counted her steps. Then when she lunged again, he dropped his staff, grabbed her arm, and spun. Her own momentum sent her crashing into the stone wall. The crowd went silent. Ryan picked up his staff again, breathing hard. I don't want to hurt you, he said. Rytha rose slowly, rage burning in her eyes. You can't hurt me. She ran at him again, swinging wildly. He blocked, ducked, and suddenly twisted her wrist. The blade flew from her hand and landed at his feet. He picked it up and pointed it at her throat. The crowd gasped again, then roared with shock. Up on the balcony, Valara raised her hand. The arena fell silent instantly. Enough, she said. Rytha froze, her chest heaving. She glared at Ryan with humiliation burning in her eyes. Valara's voice was calm but strong. You have seen it. The stranger from the stars does not fight with rage or pride. He fights with skill. She looked down at Ryan. You could have killed her. Ryan dropped the blade and took a step back. I didn't come here to kill anyone. The queen studied him for a long moment. Then she said something that shocked everyone. From this day, the man of the star shall serve as my personal guardian. The arena erupted with noise, anger, disbelief, shouts of betrayal. Retha shouted up at her queen. This is madness. You break every law. A man cannot serve in our ranks. Valara's eyes glowed like silver fire. A queen decides what is possible. The guards approached Ryan. One of them whispered, "You're lucky, or cursed." As they led him out of the arena, Ryan glanced back. The queen was still watching him, expression unreadable. For the first time, he saw something softer in her eyes. Respect, and perhaps curiosity. He whispered to himself, "What have I gotten into?" That night, Ryan was taken to new quarters inside the queen's private tower. The room was clean, filled with strange glowing plants and books written in a language he couldn't read. Through the window, he could see the entire city burning with torchlight, and beyond it, the endless red horizon. Somewhere out there, he thought, were answers. He looked down at his hands, shaking, tired but alive. He had survived the arena of flames, but deep down he knew this was only the beginning. Valeria wasn't done testing him, and neither was the queen. The night air inside the queen's tower was silent and heavy. Only the faint hum of power crystals broke the quiet. Captain Ryan Holt sat near the window, staring at the twin moons above Valeria. His mind wouldn't rest. The arena's echoes still haunted him. The roar of the crowd, the queen's voice claiming him as her guardian, the rage in her warrior's eyes. He was alive, but surrounded by enemies. The door opened softly behind him. Ryan turned quickly. Queen Valara entered, no armor now, only a long dark robe that shimmered like liquid metal. Her silver eyes caught the faint light. "You do not sleep," she said. Ryan shook his head. "Hard to sleep when half the planet wants you dead." A small smile touched her lips. "That is half an exaggeration. Only most of them." He couldn't help a tired laugh. "That's comforting." Valara walked closer, her presence calm but powerful. "You surprised them." "You surprised me," she said. "In the arena, you fought with control. You could have killed Rytha. I told you before, I'm not here to kill anyone." She studied him for a long second. "Then why are you here, Captain Holt?" He looked away. "I don't know anymore." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Valara turned toward the far wall and pressed her hand against a glowing symbol carved into the stone. With a soft rumble, part of the wall slid open, revealing a hidden passage lit by blue light. Ryan frowned. "What is that?" Valara looked over her shoulder. "Something only the queen is allowed to see. But tonight you will see it too." Before he could question her, she stepped inside. The walls closed behind them, leaving only a narrow path that sloped downward into the dark. Ryan followed, his instincts sharp. The air grew cooler, heavy with dust and age. Strange metal lines ran through the stone, pulsing faintly like veins of light. "This place feels old," he whispered. "It is older than Valeria itself," Valara said quietly, a secret passed from one queen to the next. "It is forbidden to speak of it." They descended deeper until the tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. Ryan froze. Machines, ancient, half-buried in rock, covered the walls. Huge metal pillars hummed with energy. At the center stood a broken statue of a human man and woman holding hands, their faces worn by time. Around them, alien symbols glowed faintly, flickering like a dying heartbeat. Ryan stepped closer, eyes wide. This isn't just old. It's human tech. Very old human tech." Valara said nothing. Her gaze was fixed on the statue. Ryan wiped dust from a plaque at the base. The words were faded, but he could still read them. "Colony Project, New Terra, United Human Federation, year 2593. His heart stopped. This was a human colony. My ancestors. They came from here. Valara finally spoke, her voice low. Yes, this was the truth I was never meant to reveal. Before the Great War, before the rise of the warrior queens, this world belonged to both men and women. Together they built wonders, but their pride destroyed them. Ryan turned to her. "So the stories about men are not myths," she finished. "They are buried truths. Our ancestors erased them from history to rebuild order. We believed that only women had the discipline to rule and that men brought only chaos. So we destroyed every trace of them." Ryan's chest tightened. "You destroyed your own history." Valara's eyes burned with pain and pride. We did what was necessary to survive. Ryan moved closer to one of the consoles. He brushed away more dust and found a still-working power node. He pressed it gently. The room flickered to life. Holograms sprang up, showing cities of light. People, men and women working together, laughing. Building. Then the images changed. Explosions, fire, battles, a planet tearing itself apart. Valara turned away. This is why we swore never to let men rise again. Ryan stared at the holograms. But that war wasn't just men's fault. It was both. She met his eyes. Perhaps. But truth does not heal wounds, Captain. It only reopens them. Suddenly the ground trembled. One of the power lines sparked. A voice echoed from a machine. Old, mechanical, and broken. Warning. Reactor core unstable. Genetic key required to restore balance. Ryan frowned. Genetic key? He reached for a scanner on his wrist, still half functional. It beeped weakly, showing human genetic code matches. His own DNA was lighting up. Valara saw it too. Her voice hardened. What did you do? Nothing, Ryan said quickly. But this system recognizes me. Maybe it's linked to the original colonists. She took a step back. Then you are more dangerous than I feared. The chamber began to shake harder. Dust fell from the ceiling. Valara grabbed his arm. We must go. They ran back through the tunnels as the machines hummed louder, pulsing like a heartbeat waking after centuries. When they reached the upper hall, the wall sealed behind them. The sound faded into silence again. Valara turned to him, breathing hard. No one must know what lies beneath the throne. Not my council. Not my people. If they discover that men once ruled beside us, our world will fall into chaos again. Ryan looked at her, voice steady. You can't hide the truth forever. Her eyes flashed with anger and fear. Then let it be hidden as long as I live. Ryan stepped closer. Valara, whatever's down there, it's not dead. It reacted to me. Something's waking up. The Queen's gaze darkened. Then we must hope the gods sleep longer than we do. That night, as the fortress returned to silence, Ryan stood by his window again. Lightning flashed in the distance, and for a moment he thought he saw a faint blue glow beneath the palace, like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. He whispered to himself, whatever that thing is, it's not just a secret. It's a warning. And deep below the throne, the ancient machine whispered back, soft, mechanical, alive. Genetic key detected. Awakening sequence initiated. The fortress of Valeria stood quiet under the blood-red dawn, but beneath the silence, rebellion was breathing. The air felt heavier now, like the planet itself was holding its breath. Captain Ryan Holt woke to the distant sound of drums. Not the royal ones that called warriors to train, but a deeper rhythm, slow, secret, angry. He went to the window. From high above the city walls, he saw smoke rising from the eastern quarters. Something was happening. Moments later, the door burst open. Queen Valara entered, wearing full armor again, her expression sharp and cold. Behind her stood Commander Rytha, the same woman Ryan had defeated in the arena. Valara spoke first. The council stirs against me. They claim I have broken the sacred order by sparing you. Ryan frowned. I thought you were the law here. Valara gave a short, humorless laugh. Even queens answer to fear, Captain. And fear is what they feel now. As they walked down the grand hall together, Ryan noticed the guard's eyes. Nervous, suspicious, almost hateful. Every corner of the fortress seemed alive with whispers. Rytha walked close behind, her voice low but sharp. You brought this, off-worlder? Your presence is poison. The Queen's mercy weakens her rule. Ryan stopped and faced her. If I'm such a threat, why not just get rid of me? Rytha's hand moved to her blade, but Valara raised her hand. Enough. You will obey. Rytha bowed stiffly and walked ahead. Valara sighed. She was once my most loyal general. Now she doubts me. Doubt spreads faster than fire. Ryan looked at her. Then tell them the truth. Show them what's hidden beneath your throne. Her gaze hardened. No, if they see the old world, they will tear it apart again. He shook his head. You're trying to stop history by pretending it never happened. That never works. She stopped walking and faced him fully. Do you think I don't know that? But if Valeria burns, there will be no second chance. Their eyes locked for a long, heavy moment. Queen and prisoner, ruler and outcast. For the first time, she looked not like a goddess of war, but like a woman fighting ghosts too old to name. Later that night, Ryan couldn't sleep. His instincts told him danger was coming. The fortress halls were quiet, but too quiet. The air smelled of smoke again. Then he heard shouting, "Fire!"
The east wall!
Ryan grabbed his jacket and ran to the window. The city below was chaos. Towers burning, soldiers running, explosions lighting up the sky. The rebellion had begun. He raced out of his chamber and down the spiral stairs. Halfway down, he saw Rytha and her crimson guards marching through the lower halls, blades drawn, faces grim. They weren't defending the queen. They were coming for her. Ryan ducked behind a pillar, listening. Rytha's voice echoed through the hall. "The queen has lost her honor. She keeps a man by her side. She hides the truth of the past. Tonight we take back Valeria." The warriors roared in agreement. Ryan's heart pounded. He turned and sprinted toward Valara's throne chamber. When he arrived, Valara was already there, alone, standing before the massive iron doors, her sword drawn. Her armor gleamed under the torchlight and her eyes blazed like silver fire. "They come," she said quietly. Ryan nodded. "I know. You should have escaped when you had the chance," she added. He smirked. "Yeah, well, I've got a bad habit of helping the wrong people." A small, tired smile crossed her face. "Then help me one more time." The doors exploded open. Rytha stepped through with her army behind her. "Your reign ends tonight, Valara," she shouted. "You have broken the sacred order. You have brought shame upon our world." Valara lifted her sword. "You speak of shame while raising your blade against your queen?" Rytha's eyes burned. "You were queen no longer." The two armies clashed. The sound was deafening, metal against metal, shouts echoing through the hall. Ryan grabbed a fallen spear and fought beside Valara, his movements sharp and fast. He wasn't as strong as the warrior women, but he was quicker, unpredictable. He ducked, rolled, disarmed two attackers, and used their own blades against them. Valara fought like lightning, each strike precise, deadly. For a moment they fought as one, covering each other's blind spots, moving with perfect rhythm. But Rytha was stronger than both. She broke through the line and lunged at Valara. Their swords clashed in a storm of sparks. "You were my queen," Rytha shouted. "Now you are just another liar." Valara growled. "Then I will teach you truth." They fought fiercely. Ryan saw Rytha raise her blade for a killing blow and shouted, "Valara, down!" The queen ducked just as Ryan threw a broken spear, hitting Rytha's shoulder. She fell back, screaming in rage. Guards rushed in, dragging her away as the rebels retreated. The hall was filled with smoke and the smell of fire. When the battle ended, Valara leaned against a pillar, breathing hard. Ryan stood beside her, covered in dust and sweat. "You saved my life," she said softly. He shrugged. "You'd have done the same." She smiled faintly. "Perhaps." Her eyes turned serious again. "The rebellion will not stop. They will come again, and now they know your strength." Ryan looked out at the burning city below. "Then maybe it's time to stop hiding. Time to show them what's really under this palace." Valara followed his gaze, silent for a moment. "Perhaps you are right," she finally said. "If the past is awakening, then we must face it before it destroys us both." Outside, thunder rolled across the crimson sky. Lightning flashed, and far below the fortress, the ground glowed faintly blue again, the ancient machine stirring, calling to the one it recognized. And somewhere deep underground, the same voice whispered again, "Genetic key confirmed. System awakening." The city of Valeria burned. Flames climbed the black towers like serpents, painting the red sky orange. Explosions echoed through the streets as the rebel guard clashed with the queen's soldiers. Drums of war thundered from every direction. The once proud fortress now shook like a dying beast. From the royal balcony, Queen Valara watched her empire crumble. Her jaw tightened beneath her cracked armor. "They are burning their own home," she whispered. Beside her, Captain Ryan Holt loaded the last of his energy cells into his blaster. His face was dirty, blood on his cheek, but his eyes were steady. "They're not just burning it, Valara. They're trying to erase you." She turned to him, silver eyes gleaming. "Then we fight until the last stone falls." Ryan shook his head. "No, fighting won't fix this. You saw what's beneath the palace. Your people don't need another battle. They need truth." Her voice hardened. "Truth is a weapon, Captain. One that cuts both ways." Ryan met her gaze. "Then let it cut. Better an open wound than a slow poison." For a moment, the queen said nothing. The only sound was the distant screaming below. Then she turned away. "Follow me," she said quietly. They raced down the stairs through smoke-filled halls as walls trembled around them. Statues of past queens shattered to dust. The palace's heart was breaking. When they reached the lower vaults, 2 loyal guards blocked the door. "My queen, the rebels are inside the city. You must flee," one pleaded. Valera lifted her sword. "I flee from nothing." Ryan looked at her, almost smiling. "You really don't do easy choices, do you?" She smirked faintly. "Queens rarely get to." The door groaned open, revealing the hidden tunnel, the same one that led to the ancient chamber beneath the throne. The air was colder now, alive with blue light. The hum Ryan had heard before was louder, like a heartbeat growing stronger. They descended together, weapons ready. At the bottom, the chamber was alive. The old machines that had slept for centuries were now glowing, lines of energy crawling up their sides. The statue of the man and woman flickered with light, and the words "Colony Project New Terra" pulsed like living fire. Ryan's scanner buzzed. "It's fully online. The system's activating itself." Valera looked around in awe. "What does it want?" He tapped his device. "A genetic key. It's been searching for human DNA to complete the sequence." Her eyes darkened. "Yours," Ryan nodded slowly. "And maybe yours too. You said your people are descendants of the old colonists. Half the code might still be in you." Before Valera could answer, a loud explosion shook the chamber. The door burst open. Rytha and her rebels stormed in. Their armor was scorched, their eyes filled with hate. Rytha pointed her blade at the queen. "There is nowhere left to run, Valera. Surrender your throne and the man who poisoned our world." Valera stepped forward, raising her sword. "You betrayed Valeria." Rytha laughed bitterly. "I saved it. You brought this alien to destroy us." Ryan shouted, "I didn't destroy anything." "Your world did this to itself." Rytha's eyes flashed. "Lies!" She lunged toward him. Valera moved faster. Her blade met Rytha's midair. Sparks exploded between them. "You will not touch him." The 2 women clashed with brutal force, blades singing through the air. Ryan fired his blaster, disarming 2 rebels, but more poured in, surrounding them both. "Valera, we can't hold them off forever," he shouted. She blocked another strike, her breath sharp. "Then we don't hold them off, we end this." She turned and shouted, "Ryan, the console. Use it." He ran to the main control panel as red light flooded the room. The machine's voice echoed again. "Genetic key confirmed. Activation requires dual sequence. Human host required. Confirm." Ryan looked back at her. "It needs both of us." Valera fought off another attacker and shouted, "Then do it." He placed his hand on the scanner. She broke free, rushed to his side, and pressed her palm against the second pad. For a heartbeat, everything stopped. Then the light exploded. A blinding blue wave swept through the chamber, knocking everyone to the ground. The machines roared to life, spinning faster, their voices overlapping like a choir of ghosts. Holograms filled the air, scenes of Valeria's past, of men and women living in peace before the Great War. Then the war itself. The sky burning, the cities falling, the screams. The rebels froze, watching their history unfold before them. Valera fell to her knees, trembling. "All these years, we lived in a lie." Rytha dropped her sword. "This cannot be real." Ryan looked around, eyes wide. "It's more than real. The system is rewriting your archives, restoring the truth to your world." The voice of the machine boomed again. "Restoration complete. Unity protocol activated. Future governance, balanced genetic order." Blue energy flowed into the walls, rising up through the palace. The entire fortress glowed with light that spread across the city like dawn breaking after endless night. When the light faded, silence filled the chamber. The rebels had fallen to their knees, their anger burned away by truth. Valera turned to Ryan, her voice soft. "You have changed the fate of my world." He gave a tired smile. "No, we did." She stepped closer, her armor cracked, her face streaked with dust. For the first time, her eyes weren't cold, they were human. "You could have run, but you stayed. Why?" Ryan looked at her, exhausted but sincere. "Because sometimes, humanity's worth saving even when it's forgotten itself." A long silence. Then slowly she reached out her hand. "For centuries, Valeria has been ruled by one voice," she said. "Maybe it's time there were 2. Ryan took her hand. "Then let's build something new." Above them, the city burned less brightly now. The fires were dying, replaced by strange blue light pulsing from the ground. The war was ending. But the true rebirth of Valeria was only beginning, and far beneath the palace the ancient machine whispered again. New dawn sequence initiated. The queen has chosen. The fires of Valeria had gone out, but smoke still hung over the red horizon like the memory of war. The once proud fortress, shattered and cracked, now stood quiet, a monument between death and rebirth. In the heart of that silence, Captain Ryan Holt awoke to the sound of wind. His head throbbed. The last thing he remembered was light, blinding, endless light. He sat up slowly. Around him, the ancient chamber was transformed. The machines no longer hissed and burned. They hummed softly, glowing with blue energy that flowed gently through the stone walls. The old statue of man and woman now stood complete again, their hands joined, eyes shining with light. Ryan looked around. Dozens of rebel warriors lay unconscious, their weapons scattered. He spotted Queen Valara collapsed near the console. Her armor was cracked, her hair loose and her hand still glowing faintly blue. He crawled to her and touched her shoulder gently. Valara, hey, wake up. Her eyes fluttered open, soft and uncertain. Are we alive? Ryan smiled faintly. Looks like it. She glanced at the chamber, then at him. The machine. Did we stop it? He shook his head. We didn't stop it. We changed it. They climbed the stairs back to the surface. When they reached the palace balcony, the view took Valara's breath away. The city of Valaria had changed. The skies were no longer blood red. They glowed golden with morning light. The walls that once divided the city now shimmered with vines and blue flowers, born from the energy that had swept through the world. And in the streets below, her people stood in silence. Thousands of warrior women, their weapons lowered. The rebellion was over. Ryan whispered, They're waiting for you. Valara straightened her armor, though it was broken. She stepped forward, her voice carrying across the courtyard. People of Valeria. For generations we lived under a shadow of lies. We erased our past to protect our future. But the truth has risen again, and it will not burn us. It will guide us. The crowd stirred, their faces filled with fear, confusion, and awe. She continued louder now, her voice firm. This man, this stranger from the stars, showed us what we had forgotten. That strength is not born from one side alone. It is born when two forces stand together. Her gaze turned to Ryan. Today we begin again, not as queens or rebels, not as men or women, but as humans. The people fell silent. Then slowly, one by one, the warriors knelt. The sound of metal armor striking stone filled the air like thunder. Ryan stood beside her, watching the impossible happen. He whispered, You did it. Valara turned to him. We did. Days passed. The city began to heal. The fortress became a place of rebuilding instead of fear. The ancient machine beneath the palace now powered the city with clean, endless energy. The air grew lighter, the soil fertile again. Ryan walked through the training grounds where once he had been a prisoner. Now soldiers greeted him with cautious respect. Some still looked uncertain, but none raised their weapons. He passed murals being painted on the fortress walls, images of men and women standing side by side beneath the twin moons. The artists worked silently, tears in their eyes. He stopped by the river that ran through the city, watching children laugh and splash in the water. It was peaceful, something he hadn't seen since he left Earth years ago. Valara joined him quietly. She wore light armor now, the crown replaced by a simple band of silver. The people talk of you as the Starborn, she said. A man who fell from the sky to bring light. Ryan chuckled. Sounds more dramatic than I deserve, she smiled. Perhaps, but sometimes the world needs a little drama to believe again. He turned to her. What happens now? Valara looked toward the horizon. Now we build something new together. She paused. I will call a new council, one made of warriors, builders, teachers. And you, Ryan blinked. Me? I'm not from here. She met his eyes. You are now. That night, a celebration filled the city. Music echoed through the streets. Torches lit the towers, and the people danced beneath the golden sky. For the first time in centuries, laughter returned to Valeria. Ryan stood at the balcony, watching. Valara joined him again, her silver eyes reflecting the stars. Do you ever think about going back? She asked softly. He looked up at the endless sky, the same one that had once been his prison. I used to. But now, he smiled faintly. Maybe this is home. For a moment, neither spoke. The wind carried the sound of drums and voices. The world was alive again. Then far in the distance, a faint streak of light crossed the heavens, a ship breaking through the atmosphere. Ryan's heart skipped. That's human tech, Valara frowned. Another traveler? He watched it vanish into the clouds. Maybe, or maybe someone finally followed my signal. The Queen turned to him. Then your story is not finished yet. Ryan nodded slowly. Neither is yours. As dawn rose over the new world, the light touched the palace walls, now covered in symbols of unity. Beneath it, the ancient machine pulsed gently, whispering to itself in forgotten code. Restoration complete. Humanity sequence active. New era. Day 1. High above, the Queen of Valeria and the man from the stars stood side by side, watching the first sunrise of peace their world had ever known. Ryan smiled, the wind brushing across his face. Looks like humanity finally got it right. Valara turned to him, her voice soft but proud. No, Captain Holt, we're just beginning. And as the golden light washed over them, the planet of warrior women, once broken, now reborn, entered its new dawn. The end.